So, I need some socks. Hold on. I feel like cold as hell. What's up, guys? It's Lano's Motivations, and I'm back with another video. Today's video comes from some things that I've been dealing with. Everyone uses this for different reasons. This took a while for me to get accustomed to, and I didn't understand why I would need to get accustomed to doing this so quickly. I kind of thought, well, before we go any more deeply into it, let's jump right into it. Today's video is going to be dealing with, taking accountability for, growing through, and preventing obstacles. In order to talk about this in general, we have to understand the idea that no matter what in life, we're going to run into obstacles. It doesn't matter what field we're talking about. If we're talking about love, so relationships, if we're talking about work, business, any field of life, we're going to run into obstacles, number one. And it's this idea that whether we just got over a problem, we're in a problem now. And even if we're not in a problem, trust me, a problem's brewing. I've learned firsthand that we're consistently one phone call away from a life-changing moment happening. And if you've never been through that, you're blessed. If you have been through that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know how detrimental it can be if you're not prepared mentally for those moments. A lot of us get comfortable in life. I noticed. I get comfortable in life. When things are going well for me, when work's going good, when the bills are paid, when my girl's happy and my friends are good, you know, when all that stuff, when you start to get comfortable, life has a really good skill, and it's a unique skill. And it's this idea that life always has a good way of waiting on you getting real comfortable and settled to present you with problems that can knock you completely off course. Real quick, remind you how easy it is to feel uncomfortable. In this life, I truly believe that you need to feel uncomfortable in order to grow. You're consistently comfortable in your bed and at work, you're doing the same things for the last 5 years and you haven't made a difference. You haven't made a diet change, if you haven't traveled, if you haven't made new friends, if you're hanging out with the same people and you guys are doing the same things for the last 5 years, and you need to make a difference. And even if you're not making millions of dollars, it's the idea. It doesn't have to be materialistic, but it is the idea that you want to make sure that whoever you're dealing with in this life, they're constantly pouring into you. And vice versa, you constantly want to be pouring back into people. Let's not get too off track. So with that, life is predicated on dealing with issues to become a better version of yourself. Not only for yourself, but also for your community as well. For you, your family, and for your community. You consistently should try to get ahead of your problems with some tips that I'll talk to you guys about now. I like to say this thing: life is predicated on dealing with issues to become a better version of yourself, for yourself, and for your community. Anytime that you're bettering yourself and you're getting over small things like a relationship, a bad breakup, getting fired, anytime that you're getting over things like that, the benefits that come from you getting over those things in a positive light are reaped across many people. A lot of people get to experience the positivity that you grow from. The hardship that you went through, a lot of people don't have to experience the same hardship or go through it the same way that you did, because you can use your trials and tribulations to communicate how they may be able to steer that same situation in a healthier light. It's how we all evolve to a more mature mindset and can learn to sympathize, or even for some people, learn to hate certain situations or people. We just need to remember that life is full of ups and downs, and no matter what, we should all understand that if we aren't now, soon we'll be dealing with some form of grief or obstacle. I've dealt with many griefs. I've dealt with many obstacles in my life, and that in terms of, you know, my mom having cancer, my mom being in a coma, my grandfather passing away, my grandmother getting dementia, my father leaving me when I was young, a lack of a father figure in general, and many more other trials and tribulations that I'm blessed to be dealing with, because they're doing nothing but grow me in this life, and I thank God for them. Through everything that I've dealt with, I've been able to grow and develop foresight for the future and stories to be able to communicate to you guys. With that being said, we just need to remember that life is truly full of ups and downs. If you aren't in this moment, sooner or later you're going to be dealing with some form of obstacle in your life. So it's very important to prepare for it. Another thing that I like to think about is that if your life has seemed to got stagnant on you and you're going in a circle, you seem to be doing the same thing every day. I don't know if you guys ever seen that episode of SpongeBob where I think it's Squidward, he just He wakes up, goes to work, goes to the Krusty Krab, goes to the gym. It starts to become this routine, this pattern of depression for him. He hates life, and that's what you don't want to get to. Sometimes it's good to throw your own obstacle in front of you. Start a new challenge, start something new, start a YouTube channel, go learn how to fight, go get in the gym, learn how to defend yourself. Take up a new cooking class or get a cookbook and learn and go out and buy all the things that you need to be able to cook and teach yourself a recipe. Make a recipe book. Going to the club, going out to eat all the time. Those things, they can be cool here and there, but they're nothing that are gonna build you. Always remember too, with that, tough times create the most beautiful people. Moving on to the next part, growing our mindset. So I've been a victim of the mindset or the idea that life doesn't offer more than what you see in front of you right now. There's no way to change your circumstances, and I don't know if any of you have ever felt like that, but I felt like that many of times. I've worked through that mindset, and before I was of the victim mindset where I thought whatever the world was throwing at me is just what it was, until I realized that no matter what, there's always an opportunity for growth, and your circumstances don't make you who you are. I was feeling this way mostly, and I'd say a lot of people are feeling this way as well, is because they're not handling the situation at hand. Rather, they're allowing life to just, like I said, smack you in the face. And notice how I said dealing with the situation. I am a harsh believer in the idea that your vocabulary has dictation over your entire life. Very, very much so. How you decide to word statements will affect trivial matters in your life. And it starts with here. It starts with how you decide to word your statements, and that will affect how you decide to move in the world. A lot of power and energy comes from you communicating. A lot of your words hold power. So make sure that when you say things, you say them with meaning and you stand on principle. And so that's why I say start with the idea that you deal with all your problems rather than you're going through anything. Don't go through anything. From this day on, fix your vocabulary to say that you never go through anything again. You'll never go through anything again. You'll deal with it. Going through things is of a victim mindset. If you can get out of a victim mindset, you can fight and become a warrior. And you can become the person that takes control. You can be the one in charge of your destiny and making sure that you have everything that you want rather than allowing life to hand you what it has. And trust me, life has a lot of shit. Life sucks. But if you can learn to put your hands up and fight back, starting with something as small as the way that you word your sentences, you can fix, starting with trivial matters in your life, but all the way onto the bigger spectrum of fixing anything that's wrong with you. These insignificant thoughts will add up to some of the most important decisions that you ever made in your life. Trust me on that. So I want to let you guys know that the beginning of this video so far has been based off the idea that you need to make a mindset change and to learn to communicate with positive vocabulary to help you with that mindset change. And remember to not shit on yourself. Don't call yourself a loser. Don't call yourself a fucking idiot. Say you're smart, and when you mess up, it's okay. You make mistakes. Move on to the next situation and use the experience from your previous mistake to better your next experience. Another way that I like to think about it is winners deal with things. Victims go through things. Bars. Be a winner and deal with your problems. None of this stuff is something that you're gonna change with going to the gym specifically. Lifting a weight isn't gonna allow you to make this mindset change, but it will help. You have to sit there and get into your head and remember every time that you go to say small things like, yeah, I'm just going through, correct yourself and change it. Yeah, sorry, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now, and trust me, trivial things like that will start to make a difference. Mindset shifts are completely doable as long as you encourage yourself to do them. I would almost say that they're necessary if you want to start to see a betterment of your life. That brings us into the next part of this video, learning how to grow from our experiences. A lot of times in my life, I've questioned why I'm dealing with the things that I'm dealing with. I would sit there and I would question myself and I would wonder why I'm dealing with so much at once. Why do I consistently feel like God is throwing all these things at me? And at that time, I didn't even know if it was God. I didn't know if what I was feeling was God, or I was questioning a bunch of stuff. And for me specifically, I can speak on my experiences because I know how it felt for me. And I'm sure that a lot of you have gone through a lot of the same feelings that I've been through. We're all human. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, my mom was in a coma. She woke up from the coma a month later and my grandfather passes away. A couple weeks later, I go and see my grandmother, who has now full-blown dementia, and she's crying the whole time, can't really keep herself together. She can't use the bathroom on her own. My grandmother is a very smart woman, a lot of college degrees, and to watch her be where she's at is a detriment to my mental health. I also lost a very important job to me. I'm also dealing with a lot of struggles at the job that I'm at now, and I would like to say, with all of that, everything that's in that, I take responsibility and accountability for it. So based off of all those things, all those tough times that I dealt with, I remember sitting in the car and I would cry. And I would pray to God for ways out of the things that I was dealing with. And not understanding, I would cry to my girlfriend at the time, which is, sorry if you guys don't like this, but it's a beta male trait to me. You shouldn't be crying to your girlfriend. And especially with any consistency. It's okay to deal with things and maybe let out a little bit of emotion, but you shouldn't be crying to your girlfriend every day. That's for my guys out there. I was doing this. I was crying to my girlfriend every day, trying to figure out why does no. And I also struggled with the idea of why nobody was proud of me. I couldn't understand why everything was happening to me, why it felt like everything was happening to me, and why nobody was proud of me for even trying to deal with what I was dealing with. And the number one issue that I had was my mindset and the idea that I wasn't looking at everything that I was dealing with as a blessing and opportunity for growth. I was looking at everything as it was happening to me rather than happening for me. It was happening to me rather than happening for me. And I'll say that one more time. I kept looking at everything as it was happening to me rather than happening for me. And that was my mindset shift. And a way that I like to think about it is, say I'm a house, my body's a temple, and within my mind and in my body, there was pipes that were leaking, and I kept crying, trying to look out for somebody. Can somebody please just let me know why my pipes are leaking? Why do they keep busting? Why is all this stuff going wrong in my house? Why do my pipes keep freezing? I kept looking for all these answers from somebody else. I kept asking all these questions to all these other people rather than looking within and seeing what I could do to help myself figure out how to fix my pipes and figure out why the pipes, even after I fix them, why they keep leaking. To correlate that is, I just kept looking for answers from everybody else besides myself on how to fix my life, instead of looking within and just thanking God for what was happening for me and what I was dealing with, and learning that every opportunity that I had been dealing with, and look at me saying opportunity now, but everything that I was dealing with and what I would have called a problem back then turned into opportunity for me to better myself consistently. I want to say this. Most times of abundant struggle are times where we should look within and see how we may have made a better decision, probably prevent certain situations from occurring in the first place. And this can be hard because taking accountability can be a bitch. And sometimes for some people, it can make us feel like we're at our lowest because we have to face the deepest depths of ourselves and our problems in these moments of accountability. Sometimes doing that, you might also catch where you've been going wrong the whole time and might need to apologize to a couple of people because of your old mindset. And although it can be one of the biggest blessings of your life, it can also be one of the hardest tribulations. And taking accountability and talking about responsibility actually brings us into the next part of this video. Talking about preventing now unnecessary roadblocks and not having to deal with certain shit in the first place. The goal is to endure these trials without making our own situation worse. Imagine life as a very persistent opponent with a mean right that keeps throwing that right at us. Our only task from our brain, who's coach is our brain, is to avoid any extra self-inflicted pain, which is these hands. I know y'all heard that. Which is these hands. Boy, if you don't get... A key strategy for this is maturity. Using maturity to identify our areas for improvement. Acting proactively to prevent unnecessary setbacks. Even seemingly small things like not missing a phone bill during the time where one of your family members is in the hospital, because that can have significant consequences. And I know that's probably like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, why would it matter if I miss one of my phone bills while somebody's in the hospital? Like, that don't mean nothing. Think about a scenario real quick where because you missed your phone bill, now somebody's trying to call you to let you know that one of your family members has passed away. You at work, you didn't even realize that your phone's off. And now you missed the opportunity to either be there for one of your family members or be there for one of your recently deceased loved ones. Because you made a small mistake. Now turned into one of, if not one of the most biggest regrets of your life. because you forgot to pay your phone bill. So all in all, with that idea and that whole analogy, it's the idea to make sure that you're taking care of your small responsibilities. Life's challenges demand precision. Always remember to acknowledge your faults. Regardless of the size of the mistake, take accountability. And this will help you stay ahead of any potential obstacles, because life, like I said, is gonna throw that right at you, that mean right at you every single time. So make sure that you're consistently working out, and you're working on moving your head to the left and to the right so you could dodge that right, so that you're not, because say if you're not working on that right will catch you every single time. That right will catch you every time. So just make sure that, to bring it back, you're consistently working on the small things in your life, like making sure your bills are paid, making sure your family's happy, making sure your job's happy, your grades are good, you're respecting everybody in your life, so that when the time comes that you are going through a struggle, even if nobody's there for you, at least you stand on good moral and principle, so you're not worried about life on the side coming to fuck you up. Embrace the idea that obstacles are a part of this journey. And remember to always choose positive language to communicate to people, and to also deal with your issues rather than adopting a victim mindset and having what's I like to call a loser mentality. Winners confront issues directly, taking control of their life and their responses. All growth usually comes from grappling back and forth with tough times. Instead of seeking an escape, take the opportunity for self-reflection and accountability. Trust me, I know taking responsibility can be challenging, but it lays the groundwork for preventing future problems. So like I always say, man, I want to thank you guys for joining Lionel's Motivations today. Remember, in the face of life's challenges, always embrace a positive mindset. Confront your obstacles and grow through every experience. Be precise, take responsibility, and navigate life's challenges with foresight. Don't forget to subscribe for more Lionel's Motivations. This is your host, D, inspiring your journey to fly, growth, and resilience, man. I hope y'all have a great day. God bless. I'm out.
Don't look for approval, I'm done with that shit. Done fucking your hoes, just clapping that bitch. My dollars is here, so I'm stacking that.